Hello and welcome to the Too Much Time on Our Hands podcast. If you're joining us on the stream, hello YouTubers, how are you? Wave, just give them a wave, that's why they're here. Also, if you are listening to us on whatever podcatcher that you usually listen on, like iTunes, Spotify, SoundCloud, thank you very much for listening to us. You make up the majority. So that's nice, isn't it? But, I always say it's quite nice to be part of the minority. So you could watch the stream as well, but if you're listening to it, that's fine. Don't worry about it. I'm not going to be passive aggressive about it. It's absolutely cool. Anyway, this episode, we are going to be looking at a favourite subject of ours. It's a love letter episode, yes. And of course, the social media feeds will have given it all away. This is, of course, a love letter episode to the wonderful BioWare franchise, Mass Effect.
Yeah.
Which we absolutely
all three games
love.
of it.
We've been threatening this one for about 2 years now, but we've been waiting for them to re-release.
And as Russ said, the holy trilogy, not the one that dare not speak its name.
I had a plan. I was going to set it up that we each have a number of shots lined up, and every time we mention that game, we have to do a shot.
I think we'd be paralytic because it would always be like, so why did they screw it up in fucking Andromeda? I mean, we wouldn't be able to help ourselves. Yeah. Anyway, look, before I hand over to Dan, I'm just going to say a quick introduction to us. We obviously are the TMTOOH crew, the posse. And of course,
we've been described as podwankers, so that's a nice one.
Podwankers, very nice. We are the classic threesome. We're not in the fuck bunker. Only one of us is in the fuck bunker, and that, of course, is Russ. Hello, Russ.
Bonsoir, Cherie.
We've got Dan in his house. Hello,
Dan.
Dan.
To be me. Someone else might have gotten it wrong.
Absolutely. And I am Tom, our fourth member of the Awesome Foursome, Duncan. He's had a new arrival to his family, so he, of course, is spending a little bit of time.
Not another one since last week. It's the same one.
No, he has had, he's recently had a new arrival to his family. Still the same one, no extras. He's looking after that, right? He's dealing with that, leaving this with us. So that's it. Dan, over to you, my friend.
Mass Effect, the Legendary Edition, comes out on Friday. Has everyone pre-ordered it yet?
Yes.
Yeah, to my absolute shame, yes.
Yeah.
Course.
You don't even get anything for pre-ordering it.
No, you get nothing.
You get the joy of knowing you own Mass Effect again.
Yeah, well, I think if you read the end user licensing agreement, you don't own it. You have leased the right to use that software until they revoke that right.
Yes. You get the joy of knowing that you might be able to play Mass Effect again with a massive day one patch, so it doesn't really matter too much.
Yeah.
Can you imagine the uproar on the day that all the publishers suddenly turn around and go, well that's it then?
It just happened, like with Sony when they threatened to close the PS3 and the Vita stores. Everyone's like, "I've still got games. You can't do that."
But this is why I always say, invest in the hardware, boys. Invest in the hardware.
I'd love if you turned around and pointed to, "This is my fuck machine."
Yeah, this is the ass pound of 3,000. What is it? It pumps.
What's the line from? Has anyone seen that Human Giant sketch with Will Arnett?
I've not seen that.
So it's Aziz Ansari and a couple of other guys, and they're pretending to be paparazzi and to sneak into a party. We will get into Mass Effect, I promise. To sneak into a party, they put on
the Will Arnett sex tape one.
Yeah, they put on masks as Mary Kate and Ashley, and they get into the party as them, and Will Arnett hooks up with Mary Kate or Ashley, and there's a bit where he pulls out his sex machine. He goes, "Do you carry that everywhere?" "Yes, Mary Kate. It's a portable model. It's like this big." Yes, it comes with this really romantic fist attachment. Oh, it's so funny. Yes. Whole thing ends with Will Arnett dies in sex machine mishap.
I just can't help but see Mac's exercise bike when I think of a sex machine. That's it. Anyway, Mass Effect. It's set in space. Is that right?
One last one, I promise. Have you seen Burn After Reading?
What?
No.
Burn After Reading. Burn After Reading has one of the greatest twists in any Coen Brothers film.
Well, also involving a fifth-shaped sex toy.
Kinda. It's this big thing that's been leading up to, like, George Clooney's been working furiously on something throughout the whole film, and then you find out what it is, and it's just an amazing moment. Much like there are many amazing moments in Mass Effect. I don't know, I give up. I'll do it.
Okay, so look, why don't we start this in the logical place? It's safe to say that we're all massive Mass Effect fans.
Massive Effect fans.
Massive Effect fans, and they have a massive effect on me. Why don't we start this off by saying how we discovered it and which game we played first, or when we kind of jumped on the Mass Effect train.
Mm-hmm.
What do you reckon, Russ? Do you fancy dipping into this one first?
So I started with the first one, and honestly, it was one of those ones where I got it because I thought the box art was cool. I didn't know anything about it. Played it on the 360, I'm assuming. Yeah, that was in the 360.
Would have been the 360, yeah.
But and I think it was one of the first games that I actually got with my 360. I'm pretty sure I got Assassin's Creed with it, like as a bundle.
First one.
Yeah, like the original OG Assassin's Creed, OG AC. But Mass Effect. I think I was just in game, bought it. How retro! As a physical
it's still
disc.
there, Russ. Don't do this to me, man.
Loved it.
Yeah.
That first game does a lot of heavy lifting quite quickly in terms of world building and getting you into the sort of the mindset. But then I think the concept of like the fact that humanity are the sort of the young upstart race who are still getting used to all this works to help that, because you're sort of getting used to all this as well, and it's all shiny and new and intimidating, just like it is for the human characters.
I'd agree with that. I think Mass Effect, the original, opens up with that wonderful moment where you're Commander Shepard, you're just Captain Anderson's XO, and I think you're having a conversation with Nihilus, I think his name is.
Nihilus,
the Spectre, who you're there to kind of help. You're just there to sort of provide safe passage, because the Normandy is the stealth ship, and the council want a Spectre on board to investigate Eden Prime, I think it is, or something like that. And that's really cool, because it just sets it almost inconspicuous. Like you're on your way to a mission, and it's a good way to sort of start it up. And then it all obviously goes a bit kind of fucky after that. I bought it in game in St Albans, and that's
not there.
that's not there anymore.
That one's not.
That one's not there anymore. And it wasn't the box art. It was just I went in there and I just saw a whole wall of it. And I was just like,
you're like, this is popular. It must be good.
Yeah, I was like, this is one of these games. And I had heard something about it. People saying it was a really good game. It was a great RPG. And I think I'd finished playing. I can't remember. I'd played an RPG. I think it was. Someone said to me that there was some elements of it that would remind me of the fun I'd had with Deus Ex. And that it was a big.
Comes back to that game.
Yeah, that it was a big detailed world that I'd be sort of quite sucked into it and stuff like that. But I didn't really know what it was like. It was like when someone said to me I should watch Firefly. They didn't really tell me about it. So you should just watch it. And so I bought a copy. I took it home, and then I didn't really do anything else for the next couple of weeks. I just played and played and played, and every spare moment was taken up with playing Mass Effect. I thought it was phenomenal. And then the series got even better after that. Yeah.
2007 was fucking bonkers for games. So here's games released in 2007. BioShock, Call of Duty Modern Warfare, Halo 3, Portal, Crysis remastered, The Orange Box, obviously, because Portal, Super Mario Galaxy, Assassin's Creed, Mass Effect, Guitar Hero 3, which was at the time a big deal. Where were we? There's more as well. Forza 2, that's one for me, obviously.
I was going to say this sounds like this sounds like my golden year of gaming.
Yeah, I had quite a lot of those on the 360.
Yeah,
thinking this is fucking incredible.
But BioShock, Modern Warfare, Halo 3, Orange Box.
The Orange Box, yeah, Jesus.
I mean, the Orange Box is amazing. You still haven't played?
I still haven't played Half-Life 2. Is there like a super duper remastered PC version now? I'll play that.
Yes,
there is.
It's called the PC version.
Okay, I'll
No,
play that then.
you can play. Oh no, that's not Half-Life 2, is it? That's just Half-Life. But you haven't even played Half-Life, have you?
No. Should I just start with that, the Black Mesa one?
Yeah, because they've added the Zen module to that now, haven't they? So
Yeah, I would say if you're going to play Half-Life now, play Black Mesa.
Yeah.
Because the original's a bit janky.
I'll do it.
Anyway,
You got
Mass Effect. Dan, how did you come across Mass Effect?
I bought my Xbox 360 in 2007 because I'd owned a PS2 and I was waiting for the PS3 to come out. And I was waiting. And I remember they announced the price of it and went, I'm buying an Xbox. That is too expensive. And I'm so glad I did because I bought the Xbox. I bought it with Saints Row 2 and Halo 3.
Nice.
And from then on, I just kind of worked my way through the games that had already just come out. So BioShock had just come out, picked that up. Modern Warfare, I picked up the day it came out. And then I was just like, Dead Rising as well. Picked up.
Yeah.
The first Dead Rising,
Yeah.
unforgivable save system aside, was brilliant.
Fucking hell. Yeah, exactly. And that came out, I think that came out the same day as Mass Effect. I might be wrong on that.
Did it?
Yeah, it's all
Wow.
around the same time.
Yeah.
Tough
There was just
crowd.
fucking unreal, yeah.
Yeah.
And Unreal Tournament 3 came out as well. So, yeah, I picked up Mass Effect. But after I played a chunk of those games, I probably picked it up for the following year. And I just fell in love with it. I kept playing. And I stopped playing for a bit. And I because other games took over. And then Mass Effect 2 came out. And I was like, what? So I've got to complete Mass Effect before I play Mass Effect 2. I completed Mass Effect the day before Mass Effect 2 came out. So then I just went straight into Mass Effect 2.
Mm-hmm.
I think that was the thing that really cemented it for me. When Mass Effect 2 was announced, having completed Mass Effect several times by that point, several playthroughs, trying to find more and more bits and bobs. I do remember when they said that choices you made in the first game will be carried over. There will be key things, along with your romance options, some of the characters you've interacted with, there will be specific things that will shape the way the universe comes together. And while, they're handled quite deftly, they're relatively skin deep changes, a lot of these things, but they are given weight and meaning. I remember thinking, if that actually works, this is well worth another playthrough to craft the character I want to take into that.
Yeah, I did.
game.
I went all the way through the original when I bought Mass Effect 2, but then had to go back and play all the way through the first one because the only save files I had on hand were when I've been going around being a prick to everybody. I didn't want that to carry through.
You kind of want to go into Mass Effect 2 as a paragon.
Mm.
The original Mass Effect as well, easy to forget, was an Xbox exclusive. The first Mass Effect game.
Wow, that is interesting. Yeah.
I'm just saying that so many of these games were specifically Xbox games.
I think a lot of people said that though, didn't they?
BioShock as well.
The Xbox 360. I feel like Xbox 360 kind of won for me against it. No, it won because of some of the exclusives it had were pretty damn good.
The 360 did pretty much everything right, really.
Yeah.
It couldn't have gone much better as a console
they couldn't stay
generation.
alive.
Yeah, but even so, they did a relatively good job of replacing them and repairing them. Not many people were just left with a bricked console and had to go and buy a new one.
I have to say, actually, my Xbox 360 was bricked by Mass Effect, I think, because it was playing Mass Effect that I first got my first Red Ring of Death, and then I was like, oh shit, I'll carry on playing for a bit and stuff. And a couple of weeks passed, nothing else happened. I got another Red Ring of Death, and then I turned on Mass Effect, and I was on Noveria, the planet Noveria, where you encounter the Rachni Queen, and I think what's her name, Matriarch something, I can't remember. Benezia, Matriarch Benezia. And I remember I was in the boss battle and it all froze and the screen went black and the red ring appeared and I just thought, shit. That was it. And then I didn't have my Xbox now. And then again for 6 more weeks while it was shipped away, repaired, came back. It was heartbreaking.
It's just gutting, isn't it?
Yeah, it was heartbreaking.
Mine died once.
Yeah.
Had to go to Amsterdam, I think it was. It got shipped off to.
It had an Amsterdam good time.
It's the original Xbox was just a time bomb, wasn't it? It was just waiting for it to happen, essentially.
Yeah, basically.
Yeah.
I mean, and that's the thing. Was Mass Effect a particularly taxing game for Xbox 360?
Probably. Like, it
I
looked
think like
amazing.
the Red Ring stuff, it was mainly to do with the disk drive, wasn't it? It was a physical thing.
It was
that went
wrong. Them overheating, wasn't it?
Yeah.
That was the problem.
That explains it, because then the 360 elites that came out were, I mean, they looked like stealth fighters. They were like almost, angular and covered with like all the vent grills, and like the fans were even noisier in the elites than they were in the previous version. And woe betide anyone who bought the original 360 in a collector's edition, like one of the ones with the sort of different skins, because there was only so much they do to those. Like they wouldn't just replace them if they were, unless if you bought like a white one or one of the black ones, they would literally just replace them. Whereas if you've got a collector's edition, they would always repair them. And of course, the problem with repairs is that repaired hardware like that tends to start getting a bit leaky, creaky.
Yeah,
so,
my ex had the Halo one.
I had the Halo one, the green one as well. That was one that bricked.
Yeah. Easily done. Mass Effect.
Mass Effect.
Mm-hmm.
So first Mass Effect. Should we start at the start?
Start.
Mass Effect 1.
I mean, it like Russ says, does a lot of heavy lifting very fast. Sets the world beautifully. Gives you really. I mean, in the first 20 minutes of playing the game, you are already aware of your place in that universe. How you operate, that there is a wider galaxy that you are a part of, and there is some unknowable threat that is beginning to rear its head when you see Sovereign departing Eden Prime, and everything trails perfectly from that point onwards. It's a woven story that is beautifully knitted together. It's fabulous.
What
Definitely issues with it. You just look at the changelog on the remastered edition thing. I mean, there are, and I think aside from sort of mechanical things to do with the gameplay, like the pacing of it is a little bit like you get this great opening thing, and it's like, oh my god, what's this huge threat? Okay, so if you just like to sort of bimble around on your own time for the next 6 or 7 hours, do some shopping, make some friends, have a little dance, why don't you?
Scan some of these fuckers as well, please.
When you're ready, come back to the galaxy-threatening big bad.
Yeah, I mean, that's very true, isn't it? And that is the Citadel. I think you're talking about there, isn't it?
But then, like, that's like just a classic RPG thing, isn't it? Like, Skyrim, dragons are back, holy shit! I'm just going to take up leatherworking for a bit, actually, and tool around doing small jobs for various villagers.
Yeah. I think BioWare, they sort of snuggled into the RPG system like a little kitten, didn't they? They were like, oh, it seemed to work in that previous game, so let's do that, but in the future. I love the fact that, basic supplies ended up being replaced with Omnigel, which is like the only sort of refinement to things that they actually added into the sort of the gameplay loop, which was like, don't worry about having to worry about, kind of elite crafting bits and this, like sort of lesser crafting bits and magical crafting bits. It's just Omnigel.
Yeah.
It's literally Omnigel.
You can rub Omnigel on a lock to open it. You can rub Omnigel on a gun to repair it. And you can rub Omnigel on your leg if you've been shot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How you feeling? Stuff. Oh, I'm good. I feel covered in Omnigel. Literally slick, like Frank Reynolds, like covered in anti-bac, like sliding across the floor.
For me, the appeal, I've always had this fascination with the idea of a game where you can just go and do anything. So you can go to different planets and you can go and this felt like the first game you could do that. Oh, I tell a lie. I had Elite, the original Elite on the Amiga, and the appeal of that was that you could go and do those things. But it was mostly just, you are now traveling somewhere. You have now crashed into that thing because you don't know how to play the game properly.
Yeah.
Yeah. Whereas this felt like there was stuff to do everywhere you went, despite the fact the driving aspect of it was shit. But it still felt like there was stuff to do. So you drive around a desert and you'd come across like a guard post, and you'd be able to get out and go and do it, and it just felt huge.
Or you get eaten by a thresher maw.
Yeah.
Which, to be fair, when you land on an alien world and the first thing you encounter is the sort of rumbling earthquake noise and this massive, great big, angry-looking thing rears itself out of the ground and starts chasing you. It's very cool and very compelling. I think the thing that the big appeal for me for Mass Effect was it was the first game that put you in the role of a ship's captain, if you like, and actually made you feel like you were in charge of that. When you would walk down the corridor in the first Mass Effect, guards at their post would salute as you walked past, and you would go down onto the engineering deck, and you would be roaming around, and people would almost, characters would stop and kind of check you out as you were walking past. And obviously they refined this so well over the next couple of games as well.
The problem I've got is every time you bring this up, all that goes through my head is your Commander Shepard / fiction. So every time you're and you'd go down to the engineering, go, it's fub rub time, I see.
Yeah, fub rub time, everyone.
Yeah.
Some guy with a clipboard. Everyone's had
it was quite well realised, wasn't it? The way that you were so you didn't you didn't fly the ship yourself. You gave orders as to where you go, and Joker does the flying. He's the pilot.
You went to the CIC map, and you brought up the universe map, and you would be like, we need to go over here. Let's go to Noveria or Vermire or wherever you were going, and eventually Ilos and all that sort of stuff. And it did. You felt like you were directing the operators, even though you were sort of almost being railroaded at points, by the plot. It did feel like you were kind of confronting things. I mean, the best bit for me, spoiler, is the way that they do the bait and switch. The Geth are who you believe are the big bad here. An unknowable sort of synthetic army that is kind of making railroads into Citadel territory and kind of fucking shit up. It's only as the power behind the big bad becomes the actual enemy, when you uncover the Reapers and Sovereign and what he's there to try and start, that the game gathers this kind of urgency and pace, especially, and I love the way it's reinforced by the fact that no one believes Shepard. No one believes that's what Saren is trying to do. Saren and the Geth, they're the ones you think are actually in charge, but then you realize that it's this Lovecraftian, sort of horrendous, unknowable, unfathomable, incomprehensible, sorry, and sort of enemy that it's terrifying.
Whoever had the balls to go space lobsters, that's the big baddie. Lobsters, maybe cuttlefish, but that's what we're going
Terrifying.
for. It works. They look brilliant.
Yeah,
they are brilliant.
Saren's a great bad guy as well.
Yeah, Ethan has a classic little moment of sort of redemption at the end, doesn't he?
Yeah,
before you blow his face off.
If you play your cards right, if you can actually get him, you don't even have to fight him, do you? I think you can actually get him to kill himself, and then Sovereign resurrects him.
Yeah, so you still have to have the main boss fight, but you can kind of convince him to come to his senses.
Yeah.
Oh god, it's so good.
It is so good. Sovereign, I remember being absolutely obsessed with that moment on Vermire where you've battled your way through, with the Solarian strike force, you and them of sort of the commandos, with that wonderful rousing speech on the beach, and you guys sort of make your way through, and you eventually get to a beacon, or at least a replica of one of the beacons, and all of a sudden, boom, that big red hologram of Sovereign appears. And and that's that immortal line, you exist because we allow it, and you will end because, and you will die because we demand it, or something like that. And it's this really chilling, kind of moment. And then Joker gets on the radio and says something massive has just broken Atmo and has turned literally on a dime and is heading straight towards us. And it's like, fuck me, that thing is coming for us, and it's really dramatic and really well done. And then of course the boring person on your party dies.
Caden. Always Caden.
No, I kill Ashley.
What, the space racist?
Yeah.
Caden is so boring. I always, and I don't even feel bad about it now. Caden, time to die, mate. Off you pop. I know she's a space racist, mate, but you've got no personality, so thanks.
Yeah. It takes all sorts to make a world, Caden, and unfortunately you are the licorice tube. Like, you're going in the pot. Ashley's
you can, if you particularly want to, you can kill Ashley later.
True.
So that's always an option.
How much later? Do you mean in Mass Effect 3?
I think there's a path you can go down in Mass Effect 3 that you end up getting into a huge argument with her and you shoot her because she tries to, I think she threatens Anderson or something, I can't remember. She threatens someone and you shoot her.
Yeah.
If you go down that particular route.
She's the Spectre assigned to guard someone who it turns out is already under the Reaper's indoctrination, and she's a Spectre by this point, isn't she? So she's.
I honestly can't remember.
No.
I don't think I've ever actually done it, but I know you can end up killing Ashley.
It's such a good introduction to the universe, because the fact that you're following the first human to become a Spectre says everything about how young the human race is compared to these other races.
Yeah, it's been like a couple of hundred years or something, hasn't it? Since it's like the moon of Pluto turns out to be a mass relay.
Yeah, it's Chiron, isn't it? It turns out.
Idea.
Yeah, they defrost
as like a sci-fi hook, it's all built like they've managed to keep the complete scientific bollocks down to just one thing, that there's this element 0, which is of course complete piffle, but there has to be something complete piffle that you can buy. Apart from that, it's all sort of relatively, like, if you can accept that, there's nothing in it that's too crazy sci-fi wise. It's all sort of fairly reasonable, and they do a really good job of kind of explaining everything. So the way the drives work, the weapons work, the artificial gravity, they kind of have a reason for everything. With a lot of them, it's like, you plate it with element 0 and then it works. But
element 0 and Omnigel.
Element 0 and Omnigel. Yeah, that's all you need.
Yeah,
it's very good point, actually. It's almost, again, it's that kind of unknowable thing. Although it does raise questions about the sort of whether or not the people in charge of the galaxy are necessarily the safe pair of hands, because they're kind of like, oh, okay, so we found this big floating cylinder, which opens up. We'll call that the Citadel. We'll set up our governments on it. We'll bring loads of people here. We'll live on it and stuff like that. Oh, look, there's these like insectoid things with backpacks and radios on that are trying to make us as comfortable as possible. It's probably all fine. Like, let's just settle in here. This will be the heart of the government now. And let's, start opening relays and things and having a look around. Yeah, it's a little bit
like, so sorry, what, you just found it?
Yeah.
A complete self-sustaining colossal space station, ideally optimized to sustain life, like, buildings and stuff, a whole city on there already, no one alive in it. And your first thought was, we'll have that then. I'm sure that nothing at all sinister happened to the previous civilization that lived here. I think they just left.
And it sits at the heart of the entire network of mass relays, with the ability to control some of them from this. It's all very convenient. Although, of course, the vast majority of them believe that it's the Protheans that built it, isn't it? The previous race that were killed by the Reapers in the previous cycle. I like that the enmity between the Turians and the humans is set up simply like, Citadel government policy is we don't open uncharted mass relays anymore. Not after what happened with the Rachni Wars and all that. We don't do that anymore. And so humanity is cut off in their little solar system, opens up their mass relay. They come through into Turian space. The Turians don't think, oh, intelligent life, let's welcome them. No, let's start a war. And so basically, it basically ends up with these two, the humans and the Turians arming for war, for the Citadel Council to suddenly go, oh, what's going on over there? And the Turians are like, oh, we just found some race. Don't worry, we're going to annihilate them. they opened a relay.
We'll handle this, don't worry.
Yeah, it's against the law, and they're just like, you love the idea that the Asari are like, yeah, but they don't know it's against the law.
They will.
Yeah, they will.
Briefly, they will.
Yeah, it's interesting. But I mean, I love that the Normandy itself is a joint venture between Turian and humans, and it's almost like it's a reconciliation that they built this thing together. And again, scientifically, its core is a massive element zero core with very advanced venting and heat sinks, so it stores all of its thermal energy until it can discharge it, somewhere stealthy, so it doesn't have a heat signature.
They've thought about all that stuff. So stuff like static electricity build up and heat build up in a spaceship in a vacuum is something that they have to be considered, and how the how the weapons work. They're like little linear magnetic accelerators, aren't they? So the bullets it fires are actually just a couple of atoms scraped off this block of titanium or something that get super accelerated out, which is why there's no ammo. It's just the cooldown.
Yeah, that's very cool. I'd forgotten that that's what they do. They're almost like mass drivers, aren't they? They kind of like you say, fling those things at, it's almost super heated, super fast particles just being
even the display
objects.
I think it fades away a bit in the second two games, but they do try and come up with a reason for all the holographic displays and things. They're not actually there. They're sort of projected into a chip attached to your retina or something.
Yeah, that's interesting.
And you have little implants in your fingertips that are little haptic feedback things. So when you press a button that isn't actually there, you get this little zzz in your finger, so you've felt something.
Nice. I love the thought of that sort of future. So of course, for me, Mass Effect is less memorable for its characters. Ironically, the larger story is what I remember from the first game.
Yeah.
Which I think shows you how the series began to change.
The second one is when the characters get really engaging.
Second one's all about the characters. Like it's the suicide mission. Like they don't beat around the bush with it as well. They say this is a suicide mission. You're probably not going to make it back from this, and it's about your relationship with your crew. Like that is the central core of this. You're working for the bad guys as well for most of it.
On the Normandy SR2.
Yeah.
Well, you don't
bigger Normandy.
You don't really know they're bad guys, except they're very obviously bad guys. The boss is a creepy Bond villain who stares into the heart of a dying star all the time. I mean, he's pretty obviously a baddie.
Yeah.
And he smokes.
Yeah. He is Martin Sheen though, so that's
pretty badass.
Michael, I always get those two.
It's Martin Sheen.
Martin Sheen. Yeah.
You have to.
The Elusive Man is a lot harder to take seriously if you've seen Grace and Frankie.
Yeah. You have to admire BioWare for kind of going into the second game and thinking, do you know what? We can do a lot of this a lot better now. And actually, the Normandy was kind of half the size that we were kind of planning to do. So I tell you what we're going to do. We're going to call do-over. We're going to kill Shepard. We're going to destroy the Normandy, thus setting up the enemy for the game. And then we're going to shunt forward by 2 years.
One of my absolutely all-time favorite intros to a game. Just absolutely brilliant.
As the Normandy's being pulled apart.
It's one of those ones I love in games where you see an area that you recognise, but it's in a completely different way. So Dead Space 2 did this a lot, for example, when they'd captured they picked up the ship in the space station.
The Ishimura.
Yeah. And you're going through it and it's got like all the sheets on the walls and stuff like that. This is that basically. Like you everything about the Normandy looks really familiar, except it's being torn to shit. So you've got this daring rescue of like your crew, like all leading all the way to rescuing Joker at the front, and then he dies in the most intro to a James Bond film way as well, which is in the sense that you could have cut to like a James Bond intro at that point.
Yeah.
Silhouettes of like women with guns and
TV, but instead you actually take a journey through his battered, shattered body as it's rebuilt.
Dies in the least Commander Shepard way ever as well.
He does, but it's nightmare fuel. TV Tropes has it as nightmare fuel. Imagine they actually say, like, so his armor is rated for 0G and for exo, what is it, being outside the ship. Basically, you can be outside the ship. So first of all, he's suffocating as he's going down, and you see him breaking atmosphere and burning up. So in TV tropes, they're like, you've got to wonder how much of him is actually intact by the time they find it, and actually how much of him is going to be rebuilt. They say the idea is probably that the remains, what's left of him, is effectively like kind of dog food inside this armor, at least what's left of it, and that's what's recovered and rebuilt.
I mean, that is probably complete bollocks, really, isn't it? Being able to just resurrect a person.
Well, yeah.
But they even call it Project Lazarus.
Yeah.
I mean,
Dan's just mentioned that ME2's intro sequence is great, but killing Commander Shepard, then bringing him back to life with jumping the shark a bit.
Yeah, I mean, like, as far as elaborate ways of giving the option to update their face a bit go, it's quite ridiculous.
The cracks on his face really irritate me.
Yeah, but I do
you got to go around being nice to everybody, haven't you?
Yeah, you got to heal yourself. But I do like that if you go Paragon, like literally your face cracks, there's light pouring from sides of your face, that your eyes go bright red like the Terminator. And
even though they're like, doing the renegade options, it's not that you're evil, except you do turn into a horrendous demonic cyborg.
Yeah.
And all your friends die. But don't think of it as the evil option. It's just the more impetuous, hasty option.
It's not quite as annoying as Fable, whereas if you do one thing wrong, all of a sudden you start like, now you're an evil cunt.
Yeah, and they literally, every time you walk into a village, they see you and they go, boo!
That was an accident, sorry.
Yeah.
I hit the wrong button, okay?
The times in Red Dead Redemption I've hit the wrong button, and then 45 minutes later I'm still being pursued by the law. Best one was I genuinely accidentally shotgunned a horse in the face in the middle of town once.
Genuinely accidentally.
Yeah. But it was such like a beautiful, like just straight in the face of this horse. I was really horrified.
Red Dead Online is going to Xbox Game Pass, I think.
Wow.
We should get together and do some Grand Theft Horses.
Mm-hmm.
Grand Theft Horses, very nice.
Yeah.
So I really liked in Mass Effect the loyalty missions. I liked that there was the more seedy, as you were working for Cerberus, the more seedy side of the universe was revealed to us. Through that space station, which the name always escapes me. Can't remember what it's called. Yeah, I know what you mean. I can't remember. Someone on the comments must remember what the name of the space station is.
That's like the Omega station, something. No, it's the Omega Relay that you go.
Oh, it's the Omega Relay, isn't it? Yeah.
Is that where they're based?
Yeah, they're right next to basically that. I think it might actually be the Omega. It might be Omega. It might just be called Omega, and then the Omega Relay is there as well. But I love that.
To the center of the galaxy.
Minuteman Station.
Minuteman Station. No, I don't think so. No. But I love that it's literally the ragtag team that you put together.
It does make a lot more as like a privateer. It makes more sense that you can assemble your crew just by going, yeah, I met this guy, seems all right. He's on the crew now, which you could also apparently do in the Alliance military.
Dan says Omega.
Omega. Yeah, so it was Omega.
He also says, I thought they did the Commander Shepard resurrection thing. You ought to have an in-game explanation to resurrection in a Mass Effect MMO. Which is a miracle they've never done that, by the way.
Yeah, I mean it's a universe ripe for the picking, isn't it? Really.
Yeah.
I mean, but they wanted a bigger Normandy, so you have to kind of destroy the first one. Yeah. Bigger Normandy.
Yeah.
Cerberus apparently has the funding to not only resurrect humans, also has the money to build existing cutting edge, probably top secret, stealth vessels twice the size.
It's a bit Galaxy Quest, isn't it?
It's a bit Deus Ex
brought you
Machina.
here, and we've put you in the exact same situation as before.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The collectors are a good enemy. I think the collectors are quite good.
Quick side note: I watched Galaxy Quest again a couple of weeks ago. It's fucking
really
brilliant.
holds up.
It's still fucking brilliant. It is absolutely amazing. I watched
Sigourney Weaver and Tim Allen are superb, and Alan Rickman's brilliant in it.
We should add that to the list of things we want to do love letters about.
Definitely.
It's such a fucking great film. It is. It's yeah. It's great. The aliens are still funny as well.
Yeah. Mass Effect 2, the Reaper threat is developed even more. I think.
Yeah, but like they do a nice job of sort of keeping it on the back burner as well, don't they? It's not the big threat, except it turns out it was. Dun, dun, dun. But yeah, it's really kind of. It turns out that the whole collector thing is just sort of a ploy by the Reapers, isn't it, to soften us up a bit?
Absolutely. So they've been abducting colonists, human colonists, in their thousands, hundreds of thousands, liquefying them.
That is pretty intense. If you
dawdle.
Yeah, it's if you're not a good enough person, it's Yeoman Chambers, isn't it? She gets blended in front of you and sucked up a tube.
If you don't, it's so there's a point where you go onto a dead Reaper and you try and get to its Element Zero core, which is where you encounter Legion. And I think it's soon after that. I think it's the next main story campaign. Not like a loyalty quest or anything like that. It's the main mission after that. It's the one where the Normandy gets boarded by collectors and they steal everyone. And it's like you've got the option to finish up a few more loyalty missions if you do it, but you can't do too much. Because if you don't get there in time,
spend too long.
Yeah, they're going to get liquefied. I mean, I think, to be honest, the only bad part of Mass Effect 2 is the criminally piss-easy fight against what they refer to as the Reaper larva, which is
the kind of Reaper,
which is a very creepy, human-esque looking weird thing, which loads of people have done that concept art that kind of shows the body of how it might sit in the general, the actual Reaper form that would probably be made afterwards. And you start to get this kind of sense that Reapers are made from races. They're like organic machines in some way, shape or form. But still you don't really know what's going on with them until at the very end, when the Collector General is beaten, their base is either destroyed or given to Cerberus, and you suddenly have that scene outside of the Milky Way galaxy of all the Reapers reactivating, and there are hundreds of them, and they are all slowly moving towards the Milky Way. I do remember that little moment of being like, Jesus Christ, like we are getting into something massive here. Like the next game has a lot to cash. It really does.
Dan also says ME2's story is a bit of a step back after ME1. The collector plot has literally zero impact on ME3 due to the changes they made to the story development.
Yeah, it kind of does, but I think it does a better job of you don't feel like you're just tooling around while there's some huge threat that you should be reacting urgently to. As Mass Effect 2 first one. Mass
Effect 2 is my favorite. I mean, it's I love we're getting the band back together. Like it's Blues Brothers in space, where you've got to go visit like a variety of people that you've never really met before, but you feel like they're going to be useful for this particular purpose.
And it has the all-time best moment of the entire trilogy in it, of course,
which is
where you do the Archangel mission.
Oh my God! Yes,
see who it is at the end.
Yeah, because do they? I can't remember. Do they not let you know that it's Garrus?
You don't know until
the end.
Fucking amazing. Just
I do remember playing
Garrus is fucking Batman, and
he's like, hi, I'm cool and sexy now. I've got a scar and a sniper rifle, and I'm fucking hot.
And they do the sort of the Rick and Morty heist team, don't they? Every time Shepard arrives up, they're like, oh, Shepard, you son of a bitch.
I'm in.
I'm in.
But I like that the whole point of it is it's character maintenance. You've got to try and keep them all alive, basically, by making them get on and work as a team. And to do that, you've got to do the backstories. You've got to ask the right questions. You've got to interject in the right arguments and say the right things, because otherwise one of them's going to die because they won't trust the other person.
Yeah. Really, or a whole bunch of them if you really get it wrong. You can, like that last mission, you can lose your whole team and then die.
And it's particularly heartbreaking because this is, in my opinion, the best team you put together.
Yeah, I'd agree. I would definitely agree. I think it's got a wonderful range of characters. I mean, you've got You've got Jack, the convict, but unbelievably powerful. I can't remember what they call them. Are they psychic? What do they call them? Biotics. Yeah, she's amazing. She's one of my favourite characters of the lot. It's great to have Garrus back. It's great. Tali, one of my favourite characters, who is criminally underdeveloped in the first game, gets a lot more focus on her as a sort of a growing entity. And Liara is completely missing at that point.
Who's the Asari that's on the team? I've forgotten her name.
She's a member of an order, isn't she? She's a member of a sort of a protective order of Asari. Oh fuck, what's her name? I know her daughter's name. Her daughter's name is Morinth, I think. Isn't it Morinth? Who you can kill. Oh, Samara.
There you go.
You can kill. You can actually have Morinth kill Samara.
You have to kill one of them, don't you? At one point.
Yeah.
I do think Liara is preferable to. Yeah, I'd rather have Liara.
Yeah, Liara's cool. I felt very bad for cheating on Liara when she shows up.
Who did you cheat on Liara with?
I can't remember. It must have been.
Miranda?
I can't remember because I was. It was a female shepherd, so it must have been one of the guys because you couldn't. They hadn't
Jacob,
opened up the options as much. Joker's too busy with his sex bot.
No, Jacob.
Oh, Jacob. I don't know. I can't remember, to be honest.
He suffers from the Caden problem of just being a bit too boring.
He's just the sort of the standard issue human, isn't he?
Yeah.
I'm going to try and not spend as much time talking to him in the next.
You're hot and all, but this guy over here has got tentacles. So I just don't think you can compete with that.
So, I mean, you're okay, but you're not Thane.
Yeah,
that voice. The voice.
Again, like what a challenge to the designers. Right, we need a really super sexy assassin. Yeah. Oh, and he's a frog. Get on it.
Challenge accepted.
Thane's voice. Yeah. Like Thane could do like the CBBB's book at bedtime and have all the mums in a tizzy. More so than Chris Evans.
Or Tom Hardy, who always reads it just a little bit underwhelmingly. For my liking.
Yeah, I fucking love Thane. Thane is one of my favourite characters in the whole.
And he's got because he's got a terminal illness, hasn't he? Like he's got this great sort of air of like just doesn't give a fuck anymore.
He's trying to atone for his sins, isn't he? Basically, essentially
trying to save his son from walking the same path as him.
Yeah,
his son's name is Koliat. Koliat.
Can't remember.
No idea.
I'm really looking forward to getting like Thane. What Thane's got that great mission where you go up like a skyscraper, and it's just a really excellent action sort of gunplay mission. That's really good fun.
Yeah, you do fight against a lot more kind of mercenary outfits like Twin Suns. Yeah, is it Twin Suns? And
there's like 3 or 4, aren't they? Rival merc outfits who are just like they're all cannon fodder. You don't have to feel remotely bad about mowing these fuckers down.
Not even once. No. Dead.
Amazing gunplay. It felt just so good. Like the when even like reloading feels great when you fire the cartridge out, like the red hot cartridge out, and then all the different types of ammunition as well. Just awesome.
It was a smart choice actually to get rid of the growing thermal. Sort of like bum, 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 and then you have to wait for a little bit. Bum, bum, bum,
That's gone in the Legendary Edition as well.
Exactly, yeah.
Well, they change it to thermal clips, don't they? So they still keep the fiction of it being heat management.
Yeah.
But what it effectively means is you've got this many shots and then you have to reload.
Yeah.
So it's still effectively your standard ammo thing.
Doesn't feel environmentally friendly though. Just heat
firing out red hot chunks of tungsten all over the place.
Thermal clips. Just
it's like the overheating thing. I think they've tweaked the overheating mechanic in the first one for the Legend Edition because it was a little bit like, all right, you just got to sit behind a box for a good minute or so now while your gun cools down.
Yeah, it really padded it, didn't it? Really did. Though the Geth get a really good kind of development in this one, don't they? Legion properly develops the Geth and actually explains to you that all those Geth that you were mowing down, like the evil Geth, they're actually they're a tiny fraction of the Geth collective, which actually is a very nice bunch of people that just want.
Yeah, they're actually just a bunch of renegade nutters, aren't they?
They're like religious fanatics. They're the Geth's equivalent of like the religious fanatics, basically, that believe that the Reapers are the old machines, the epitome of AI perfection, isn't it, or something like that? And they I like Legion. I like the fact that Legion is something like, and someone please correct me, he's either 11,000 Geth in one body, or he's over 1,000 Geth in one body. I can't remember which one it is.
So like a Geth is not he's a platform, isn't he?
He is.
He is host to a bunch of individual copies of the Geth entity, or program, or whatever you want to call it.
Constantly trying to come to some sort of, I love the idea that they're all arguing in there, like, you know, to come to some sort of consensus on what their next actions are going to be. He's badass though, if a little stalkery, considering he has somehow gotten his hands on a piece of Shepard's old N7
Yeah, like you can imagine him like snipping off a bit of her hair in the middle of the night or something. It's a little bit creepy.
Yeah.
But he's really cool. And the sort of the end of that particular arc is very cool, where you have to sort of decide whether or not you're gonna. You end up with the option to end up basically wiping out the entire Geth civilization, don't you?
You do, yeah. Or pissing off Tali.
But if you don't, you end up they come to your aid in the big battle at the end, things like that.
I still can't get past that moment where, I mean, to get the good ending, Legion sacrifices himself.
Yeah.
He says something like, remote upload is impossible, I have to go back to the collective, and literally kills that entity.
Yeah.
And Tali says something like, you know, your first kind asked a question, you know, am I alive? She says the answer is yes, and he goes, I know, Tali. You know, and he calls her Tali for the first time rather than creator or so. I can't remember what he calls her at the time. It's really hot. And the music is, of course, that wonderful theme that it permeates through all of the games, except for in the third game where they fucking brought in all the piano score. I wasn't so much a fan of actually in the third one. That? Yeah. I like that bit, but I didn't like the I just think it should have been
My car in Forza sounds like a Reaper. Like you can the car horn when you drive past.
That's badass though, that noise. Like the intro passage of Mass Effect 3 as the Reapers, you know, invade Earth. I mean, as they, you know, they're sort of walking through the sea on their tentacles.
Where are you? You're in like where is it? That first city? Is it like Toronto or somewhere?
I feel like it's London. I feel like it's meant to be
London's
London.
the end.
London's the end.
Go up the
good memory.
Big glowy thing.
You're like an Alliance HQ, aren't you?
It's with the kid, isn't it? You're chasing the kid. Yeah. I don't remember much about Mass Effect 3. Got some comments, by the way.
Oh, cool, man.
Dan says he was hoping Russ was going to say headbutting a Krogan was the best moment in Mass Effect 2.
That is quite cool. Or punching out that reporter for the second time in a row.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Jack says Samara Morinth is the choice, I think.
They're the two, aren't they?
Yeah, Duncan's on board now. He's asking questions.
Big D.
Kolyat is indeed Thane's son. Morinth was an Ardat Yakshi. I can't remember this, Jack, again. Can't remember what Samara was part of.
I can remember. It picked up. She's a Justicar.
That's it. Yeah.
It pinged into my head.
Like the older one has gone a bit nuts, hasn't she? And is going around killing people.
No, her daughter. So Samara is Morinth's mother.
Yeah.
So Morinth is the one going around killing everyone. Yeah, she basically, if she melds with someone, she destroys their nervous system.
According to Jack, it's 1,183 programs in.
It's over 1,000. Yeah. Wow, good memory.
And Dork of the Evening goes too.
Yeah. Is that
1138? 83.
Oh, 83. I was going to say that's almost close to George Lucas's 1138. So,
and he says
very close.
He asked Tali if he has a soul.
If he has a soul, good memory.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
The answer is yes.
That and Mordin's death. Oh my god, Mordin's death just gets me.
Singing Gilbert Sullivan.
HMS Pinafore, is it? isn't it?
It's,
Yeah.
oh yeah, so it's a Gilbert and Sullivan opera, isn't it?
And Duncan says, "Isn't it Montreal? He's never played. Is that what's in Mass Effect, Duncan? No clue." And he asks, "Are the Reaper similar to the machines from the Butlerian Jihad in June?" No,
I don't know what the Butlerian Jihad are. No. I like in Mass Effect 3 that you actually get an explanation for where the Reapers come from. I have to admit, though, I did find that explanation to be misplaced. It's almost like we don't need to know. Like,
I can't remember that. What's the deal there?
So the Leviathan race that you can meet in one of the expansions they created the Reapers to effectively safeguard life against, I think it was an AI created to work out how to best protect organic life, and the AI I think went renegade because it realized
clearly
that the
these
best
people
way
have never seen any science fiction, because creating an AI to work out the best way to protect human life only ever ends in one thing.
So the Leviathan are immense, like huge beings that live in the very almost like oceanic core of this this planet that you visit, and they have natural indoctrination fields that they can generate. So basically the Reapers built themselves, like I think they turned on the Leviathan, they killed most of them, and Harbinger was the first Reaper to be created in the image of the Leviathan, which is why they look like these kind of underwater creatures, is that they are based on their original kind of owners.
I don't think so is that in a DLC? I don't think I've played that.
It is, yeah. I think it's called Mass Effect 3 Leviathan. I think it's the download, the DLC is called Leviathans, but when you get the pack, you'll be able to play that because it'll be part of it.
Yeah, it's all included,
it's
isn't it?
well worth a watch because it's actually quite haunting actually. Suddenly coming face to face with a, this is actually I think this is the last 3 Leviathan still left alive after the Reapers killed them all, but they've been existing there for millennia, just hiding in the sea.
Actually, something else quite good about the Legendary Edition with the DLC, they've woven the DLC content into the story a bit more naturally as well. So you won't just like, oh, suddenly here's all this stuff. It's like they'll introduce things a bit earlier.
There's a lot of
DLC weapons and things. You'll be able to like get them in shops and stuff before
I didn't
the
play.
DLC would have come in.
I completed Mass Effect 3 before the DLC came out, and I just kind of left it at that. So I
love that you now get Citadel, and that
which is apparently fucking amazing.
It's brilliant. Yeah. It's the perfect swan song, and almost I think I said on the last pod actually, I actually quite like playing through Citadel as my ending, and just being like, that last moment is the ending. Just as they all look at each other, they're off to fight the Reapers, and they're maybe going to live and they're maybe going to die, and I'm quite happy to leave it at that point. Yeah, I agree. Mass Effect 3, I mean, it's like it plays so well. Like once again, the gun plays good. You genuinely feel powerful. Like you genuinely feel like when you hit something, you're really hitting something as well. Like because the first one you can hit things with, isn't it? That you actually control it. You actually got control of the and your Omni tool generally feels awesome, but you give up a lot of. Just didn't feel like they knew where to go with it.
Yeah.
But with number 3,
yeah,
there was a lot going on. They had that multiplayer side. They had the war assets mechanic, which I quite liked to sort of show how you were affecting the war effort. If you like if you met up, if you saved the Rachni Queen in the first Mass Effect, you encounter her later in number 3, I think.
Yeah, and you can get Rachni
workers. They join the effort to build the catalyst.
That's always such a fun mental image as well.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
I quite liked all that sort of stuff. Like, if you recruited Zaid Massini again, it would sort of say, he would add like a massive chunk of points. They're like, you've got this badass mercenary on your side now, and if you manage to settle the Geth and what are they called? The migrant fleet. What are they? What's the race? What are they?
Tally's. Oh God.
Quarians.
Quarians. That's it.
Yeah, with the you get the Geth armed forces and the Quarians both join your, and that kind of pushes you over the limit to kind of get, because it opens. I think the better prepared you are when you go into the last mission from a war asset point of view, the more likely you are to be able to open up the other coloured light effects for the ending, if you know what I mean. Like,
I think that's the thing that's like I think the concepts of the endings, the control, synthesis, destroy options, I think fundamentally they're pretty good options, but you don't really, there's not enough, you don't see enough, and basically you get a different colour explosion is pretty much the difference for
so
all
what is
the,
it? It's
all that
for,
effort you put into different things.
What is it? It's yellow for synthesis, blue for control, I think red for destroy, isn't it?
Synthesis is green, I think.
Synthesis is green, is it?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, and they all have like cybernetic implants.
Yeah, it goes a little bit weird at the end, doesn't it? Everyone has like green tattoos all over them, and
yeah. It's really strange though, because the control one is basically Shepard becoming the controlling AI of the entire Reaper fleet, and helping to rebuild the entire Mass Effect relay and the Citadel and everything. And we're supposed to be okay with the fact that Shepard has become the Reapers, if you know what I mean.
Well, it's not like the good ending, is it?
No.
I mean, the biggest issue is that there isn't a particularly satisfying ending.
No, because it all seems so. It's so. I know there are more than two choices, but it is so binary. It's just it's like well, you've come to the end, and
here's shit choice 1 and shit choice 2.
Yeah. You die.
Yeah.
You sort of die, and you probably die. Because in Destroy, I know that all the Reapers explode, and they find Shepard's body somewhere, but he moves just at the end.
Yeah, he has he moves like a hand or something.
Yeah.
What is their thumbs up? That's Terminator 2, isn't it? So, yeah.
Very strange. Really odd choice. I mean, they did sort of try to repair some of that damage, but by that point, the memes had already taken over.
And also, if this is your artistic vision, then this is your artistic vision. I might not agree with it, but I shouldn't be able to sway you to say that you should change it in any way, shape, or form.
I don't mind the ending. It's the what comes after the ending. Just feels a little bit limp for all of them.
Which is, you've spent 3 games at that point, just making choices in a way that you feel that you want your character to develop, and then you get to an end, and it's basically you've got a shit sandwich where the shit is the content, or a shit sandwich where the shit is the bread.
I don't like the idea that you have to choose how you're going to sacrifice yourself to save humanity. I think that fits for Shepard. I think Shepard would do that, obviously.
But you end up, it's not just sacrificing Shepard, though, is it? Like, you're sacrificing other things, other people as well. And I don't know, it doesn't sit right with me. Just doesn't.
I agree with that. It didn't sit right with me either. Yeah. I thought the conversation with the Catalyst was, well, everyone's dying in space around you, fighting a very nearly lost battle against.
That's a bit
the Reapers.
hokey, isn't it?
And you're having a conversation with a digital representation of a child, doing that whole kind of, I thought this form would be more pleasing for you, while we discuss the philosophy behind why we're massacring everyone every 50,000 years or so. But I mean, it is what it is. I think the travesty of the whole thing, which we probably should mention at least once, is that after that, the next game basically kind of went, it's Mass Effect, but it's not in the same galaxy. It's just, it's Mass Effect in all but name, really. You know what I mean? In nothing but name.
Well, the ending of Mass Effect 3 completely prevented there being essentially a Mass Effect 4. There was literally no way they could do it unless it was somehow entirely separated, as they do in Andromeda.
Considering the intro is humans don't really have a seat at the table at the moment as well. So like, there isn't really a way you could go back and do like before Mass Effect, because then you're losing all the things that make like Commander Shepard as well.
And so you get Ryder. Is it Ryder? Ryder the Ranger? Or what? I can't remember what he is. I've been barely got a clue of what was going on.
You choose the brother or sister, don't you? The other one stays.
Yeah, I've honestly only got like 3 missions into it. There's something about it that's just so lackluster.
It came out with some serious stink on it, didn't it? Because it looked shit when it came out.
Yeah.
They went and improved it. Cyberpunk, I hope you're taking note. They went and improved it. They did everything they needed to, but the problem was it was just still really boring, in my opinion. Like you went down to planets, and it was like you have the freedom to go and explore this planet and go do all these kind of things, and you'd be like, okay, so I've got to drive from here, and I've got to spend 10 minutes driving to the other side of this, and stuff might happen in between. But it'll be the same stuff over and over again. I can never really feel like I get anywhere. And when I do eventually get somewhere, it'll be a fairly boring side quest. Like it just was a constant succession of that. I didn't particularly like anyone in it either. I thought it was full of like really unlikable characters. I will say, yeah, it just wasn't really for me.
Have you got all the way through it?
No, but I watched someone get all the way through it. Dan says he picks up Mass Effect Andromeda on sale for £6.24 on Steam. I think that's a pretty good price for it.
It's probably worth about £6.24, isn't it?
100%.
Yeah.
100%.
It's just, I think what it does though is probably. Sorry, were there more comments there?
Yeah, there's some comments, but you carry on.
I was going to say, I think what it does is it serves to show that it's not necessarily that they only had 3 good games in them. I just think it was like Ross said, after the ending of Mass Effect 3 and the sort of culmination of that story, there's not really anywhere else to go. And actually, it was probably a big mistake setting it in another galaxy and calling Do-Over. And it also, I think, it puts a bad taste in your mouth because you feel like they've spent all this time building up this excellent franchise, set in this location that we understand and know and have fallen in love with, and now it's all gone. It's not Mass Effect anymore. It's using the name Mass Effect for something that is far, far, far less than what has gone before. I think that's the bitter pill for me. It's just it didn't feel like they were even trying anymore. Is the impression I got.
BioWare need a win, so hopefully Legendary Edition is enough of a win.
It feels like there's a lot of goodwill towards it and excitement, genuine excitement about it. I'm excited. People seem to like it. Doesn't feel like just a cynical cash in like these things can sometimes. They've clearly put some effort into this re-release and correcting some of the things that needed correcting.
They said they were never going to do it, so I'm glad they are though. I'm looking forward to it.
And it is good that they've made some changes to Mass Effect 1.
Also, Series X version, you can either play 4K 60 FPS or 1440p 120 FPS as well on the Series X version, as well as the versions as well.
For the 7 people in the country that have a Series X, that's for you.
I have just ordered it on Series X. So
yes, because you're one of those 7 people.
Exactly.
Nobody else can get one.
No, sorry, I feel bad about that now. But it's not like you know, just build a PC. Oh no, wait. Yeah,
done that too.
Yeah, you can't do that either at the moment.
Yeah, we definitely did ours at the right time, didn't we?
Dan says there's recently been a teaser trailer for a new Mass Effect game set in the Milky Way. Yeah, they've done a typical like BioWare EA thing, which is here is some concept drawings of it, haven't they? That's what we've seen so far.
Yeah, here's some stuff we know you'll like.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I would imagine they found a way to kind of make that work. So,
I mean, you could easily do it. Like you just have it set before the first Mass Effect or alongside it or something, and just have it be something completely different.
They need to do Dragon Age first, I think. I would imagine, and there's still rumours of KOTOR remastered as well. So.
Oh God, be still my beating heart.
If you're going to do a KOTOR remaster, it almost needs to be like a like a re-platforming of that game though. It'd need
Yeah.
a new engine because
Yeah.
it doesn't control very well.
No, it's all the spinning, isn't it? It's the spinning and
So
progressing.
apparently
Yes.
the trailer shows someone walking to the camera with the N7 logo. So
Yeah, I mean that feels very like
Oh,
it could go anywhere at the moment though. Like that's not really.
that's all I need. Like,
Yeah.
what was the other trailer we were talking about? Oh, the Rogue Squadron trailer.
Yeah, I genuinely hope. I don't want to see
Yeah,
anything
that's
of
all
that
I mean.
movie until I'm in the cinema.
Yeah.
I'm probably not going to watch the trailers for that.
You know we will though.
No, I don't think I will.
Yeah.
I'm sure I read someone who avoided all the trailers for Endgame.
Yeah.
and said
I'm
that
just
it
going to
was-
say
it
you
was
probably will
amazing.
because we do a pop culture podcast.
I'm probably just going to ignore that bit. Not knowing what I'm talking about has not held me back on this.
Yeah, I'm just gonna ignore my responsibilities as
Yeah.
a journalist.
We got some comments. Duncan says he's played Mass Effect 3. That's the only one you've played? Okay. Dan says they created the AI to work out the best way to protect the life from AI, which is a bonkers concept. They should never have explained the origin of the Reapers, that along with the Star Child made them less scary. It also says the ending was cobbled together out of their arse because they were rushing it. There
Yeah.
were no thematic links with the story up to that point. 100%. It was just like, you've made all these decisions and now you've got to make a decision that's not really based on anything.
Yeah, because like, everything up to that point has been fighting them, destroying them, and like that thing you're building, the catalyst. You think it's just going to destroy them all, don't you? That's the whole point of it. And then suddenly it's like that. Oh no, you've got options. You can have red, green, or blue.
Yeah, it's kind of weird though, isn't it? That the Protheans realised that the best way to do this was to build a machine that would allow them to interface with the AI that controls the Reapers. You know, it seems like a very convoluted kind of thing to do. Like, and I love the fact that like even the Reapers don't know what it does. You know,
It could have been
Protheans don't know what it
tied
does.
in a lot better, like, especially the whole Geth and the Quarians thing, where you've got a creator and a createe having beef and reconciling. Like that could have been kind of linked together a bit, but it's not really.
I think. Hang on, isn't what you called the createe a creation?
That's the word I was trying to find.
But those like employer, employee,
Yeah.
creator,
Yeah.
createe. Yeah,
An employee, you mean?
employer,
Yeah.
employtion.
Yeah. Also, Duncan says you guys need to read the Ian M. Banks, The Algebrast. I think Leviathan sound like dwellers in that book. He also says, F you, Dan. Yes, I bought Mass Effect 2 and 3, as that was what was available. Can't find Mass Effect 2 and heard good things about ME3.
Yeah, F
They're
you,
all
Dan.
good. They're all good. Yeah,
Yeah.
F me. And Paul Edge says, then the Reapers just carry on and harvest the galaxy. And then also says, you can shoot the kid.
Ah, fair dues.
Oh, what, at the start of the third one?
I think so, yeah.
One of the endings is it actually shows the next race finding a message from Liara saying, hopefully, you know, someone will find this and, you know, will be able to defeat the Reapers, unlike us. You know, here's everything we know about them and blah 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 blah. You know, and that's a real downer
Also, like
ending,
if you lose the big battle at the end.
Yeah, absolutely. Do you know, the last enemy that you fight in Mass Effect 3, the actual last enemy is a Marauder. It is like basically one of the ground troops of them. And one of my favourite memes that was created afterwards, before they did their retconned kind of ending montage that was the sort of enhanced ending, the memes that all popped up were obviously when you fight a Marauder, it flashes up Marauder, and then it has shields written underneath, which shows how far his shields are going down, and then before his health bar. And so people were basically, they sort of almost deified this character. Like they were going, his name is Marauder Shields. He tried to save us from the terrible ending. And just you had loads of people repeating, his name is Marauder Shields. His name was Marauder Shields. Like, you know, he was the last line of defense. All he wanted to do was save us from the terrible ending. I loved it. I thought it was brilliant. Perfect pitch internet humor for very, you know, deservedly so as well.
Dan says Marauder Shields.
Yeah. His name was Maralda Shields.
I'm gonna have to go back because, like, clearly, ideally, what you want to do is play through all the games about 30 times to get all the endings. But I think I'll just hit up a YouTube compilation of all of them.
Probably best. Yeah. Well, there we go.
Apparently, so one last thing. Paul Edge says you can shoot the kid at the end. There are 4 ending choices, one of which is to shoot the kid.
Oh, you can shoot the Star Child?
Yeah.
And what does that do?
I don't know.
Do it and find out.
One way of finding out.
Well, gonna go shoot the kid. There we go. Oh, okay, cool. So, obviously, there's loads of stuff that we spoke about there, and there's loads of stuff that we haven't spoken about. I mean, Mass Effect is so big that, you know, a love letters to it was never going to encompass anything. So please feel free to hit us up on any of our social media feeds, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, using the handle @TMTOOH, to tell us your favourite parts of the saga, the bits you love the most, you know, I don't know, why you bought it. We'd love to hear those stories. You can also make sure that when you're on iTunes, Spotify, or on YouTube, you can listen back to all of our pods. You can watch all of the old streams as well.
Leave a comment.
And there are plenty of other podcasts that Dan is doing at the moment. I don't know if Dan wants to take a moment just to tell us what's on the horizon.
We didn't do one this week, but we are doing Marvel in Marvel, it's called, and currently we're not doing anything Marvel related. So next week now, I think we're going to do a series review of Invincible because we've all watched it now.
Nice.
Anyone on this pod, fucking watch Invincible. It's brilliant. It's really, really good. Really good.
Problem is, I'm getting to the point where I have so many things that I have to watch on your instruction that I'm almost like, it's like someone saying to me now, like, you need to watch The Sopranos. It feels too big, Dan. It's too busy for me. There's too much.
Okay. Put them all to one side, and this is the last time I'm going to say this, Tom. Watch The fucking Expanse.
Okay. All right, cool.
Okay.
I mean, you know, I'm going to take it on recommendation. I'm not entirely sure whether it's going to be the sort of thing that I really like, but, you know, I take the recommendation. That's absolutely fine.
Watch The Expanse. Like,
give it,
zone
like,
everything
before
else
you make a decision about The Expanse,
zone everything
give it
else
the
out.
first few episodes. Like, don't make a decision about it until they are on the Rocinante.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And
So
when you hit series 2, all of a sudden it's holy shit. This.
So until they're on the potato rosti.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wait until they're on the potato rosti. But it's brilliant. Like, I mean, it really is very good.
Okay. All right. Cool. I like the sound of it, Russ. You really sell it to me well. It's really.
I don't want to overdo it. I don't want to pressure people into it.
I could just see your eyes burning into me there.
So then watch that, and then come back, make a list. Basically, everything's better once you've made a list. So watch The Expanse, then do WandaVision, Falcon, Winter Soldier, and Invincible.
Okay, cool.
Okay.
Expanse first.
Expanse first.
We've got Loki coming up soon to watch. And also, have you seen the trailer for MODOK?
It looks really fun.
It looks very good.
Yeah. And also, don't get distracted by other things you've already watched a million times. That's my favourite thing to do. Brooklyn Nine-Nine, for example.
But Peep
Always
Show.
Come back to it, huh?
But Peep Show.
Peep Show. There's like 400 series of Peep Show.
Every time I start rewatching Peep Show, I go, "Oh fuck, there is a lot of this, isn't there?" And then I rewatch all of it anyway.
That's what I'm doing. I'm doing Parks and Recreation again at the moment.
You're still not entirely sure what happens in Ocean's 11, Jeremy. It's a complicated film. It's really not. And on that note, we're going to say goodbye, Russ.
Toodles.
We're going to say goodbye, Dan.
It's not limited to Tom. Everyone should watch The Expanse.
Yeah, absolutely. Everyone watch The Expanse. It's goodbye from me, Tom, and thank you very much for watching. Don't forget to hit us up. On that note, let's cue the music.
And this is my favourite podcast on the Citadel.
Nay!